Can local Balinese food compare with fancy imports? I'm about to find out. I'm standing out the front of Grandlucky Supermarket on the bypass north of the McDonald's. A question I'm often faced with is, do I choose imported products at the local supermarket, or do I try and live like a local and stick to local products? Today I'm going to show you around Grandlucky Supermarket, where they have the largest range of imported products in all of Sanur. We'll check out the prices of the imported goods, compare them to the local products, and you can make up your own mind as to whether you go for the local or the imported.
Imported coconuts from Thailand. Korean strawberries, and they don't even look that great, to be honest. This is a classic example of the price differential. You can get these grapes from USA, 59,000 there for half a kilo. Same weight down here, Balinese grapes, 15,000. Massive difference. One whole pineapple, 30,000. Unreal value. 500 grams of carrots from Sumatra, 20,000. Hey, that's cheap. 10,000 for 2 baby romaines. So as you can see, the price of fruit and veg is very variable depending on whether you buy local or imported stuff. And if you really want the imported stuff, you're going to pay through the nose for it. So you've got to be a little bit careful. Now you've got some processed meats here, some of it imported. For example, that prosciutto there is 100,000 for 100 grams, pretty expensive. But then you've got some of this stuff here, produced in Indonesia, 63,000 for 100 grams. So you sort of, you got to pick and choose what you're willing to pay for, really. Do you want to pay that extra money for something that's imported? Maybe the quality's better. Maybe it's not. Wow, look at this Wagyu. That's expensive. 1.5 million for a steak. Or you can get the stuff from the USA for 250,000 for a steak. Much cheaper, but still pretty expensive stuff. And you can get it here, but do you have the money for it? Versus a local cow, yeah, 84,000 for that big sirloin. Local tenderloin, 75,000. One of the good things about Grandlucky is a massive selection of cheeses they've got. Like they've got Grana Padano, they've got Parmigiano, Reggiano. They've got like Dutch cheeses, British cheeses. Yeah, look at that Gouda there. All sorts of different ones. And look, they are a little bit expensive. Like the Gorgonzola there's about 100,000. But if you want it, you're gonna have to pay for it. Blue Stilton, 100,000. I'd pay that. I reckon this one's pretty good value, 85,000 for English cheddar, fully imported. Now the local red cheddar there is 81,000. It's only slightly cheaper than the fully imported English one. So you've got to make a decision, what are you going to buy? And that's part of the problem when you're shopping at some of these places, is that you really have to compare all your prices, because the variability is massive. Quality variability is massive as well. So, you know, have a look at something, look at the grams, look at the price, see if it's imported or not, and then you can make your decisions. Are you willing to pay that extra money or not? One thing I don't compromise on is butter. Now that there is 85,000 for a 250 gram Lurpak. I know that's about $5 or $4 in Australia. So yeah, it's a bit more expensive here, but I'm willing to pay it because I think the quality's there. Fresh milk here is going to cost you 33,000 for 1 litre. That's the fresh stuff. If you drink a lot of milk, the costs build up pretty quickly, when you can get a litre of milk in Australia for probably about $1.50 or less now. One thing I've been having problems with is trying to find the right yogurt for me. Like, I've tried a lot of them and none of them really suit me. So this Heavenly Blush is pretty good. I don't mind that. But most of them, like, I'm not really into them. Like that Emmy one, I don't really like it. I don't really like the Bio-Cool one. I've tried Greenfields and it's okay, but again, I'm not a big fan. So yeah, at this stage, it's Heavenly Blush for me. But one of these little packs here will cost you 25,000. It's not bad, but it's not cheap. If you like muesli bars, these are about double the price that we'd pay in Australia. Rolled oats here are pretty expensive. I mean, it's still pretty cheap in the grand scheme of things, but I know that I bought 1.8 kilos of oats for $3 recently in Australia, and here you're looking at probably, well, it's about triple the price, maybe quadruple the price for oats. But even so, oats are a really cheap way to have a good nutritious breakfast, even at these prices. So I guess it's probably still worth buying them here. The other thing that's happened in Bali over the past 10 years is that there's a lot of local brands of cereals now that are really tasty. So I have tried this brand. It's fairly pricey, 80,000 for 400 grams, but if you're into breakfast cereal, highly recommended, highly recommended. I reckon it's worth spending a little bit extra for a decent cereal, good start to the day. This Lotus Biscoff is 75,000 for 400 grams. I know that that's $7.50 in Australia, so same price, and I'm willing to buy that in Australia. So I'd be willing to buy it here for sure. If you're into good quality milk, this is a great imported brand, Milk Lab. It's actually from Australia, and they've got the whole range there. Some of it's quite expensive at 70,000 for the almond milk. You come right down this end, the normal milk is 39,000, which is not too bad for a good quality milk. Of course, you can get the local brand, which I've been drinking for years. This one here, 23,000 for a litre. It's not bad flavoured. Totally drinkable, so yeah, that's your cheaper option. Again, are you willing to pay double the price for something that's imported when the local product is very good quality? That's the key question. I don't know, it's really tough. Now this is a classic one, the pasta. Pasta's actually pretty cheap anyway, less than 30,000. You get a big bag there of tagliatelle for 25,000. So you think, oh, may as well just get that. But then you look at some of the local stuff, like there, 8,000. When you're getting into Barilla, a lot more expensive, but still, you can make a good meal out of that, and it's still not going to break the bank, $5 or 40,000 or 50,000. When it comes to pasta, I think I'm going to stick to the imported stuff. I trust it more, and total price is not that much anyway. One of the weird things in Bali, they've got a massive range of olive oil. They've even got big tins down the bottom that you can buy for like 400, 500, 600,000. It's weird. And then you've got all the other oils. Avocado oil, flaxseed oil, extra virgin sesame seed oil. Back to the olive oils again. And then you've got minyak bunga matahari sunflower oil, which is really cheap. Like you can get that canola oil for 61,000. If you're planning on staying in Sanur a little bit longer and you've got your own place, they do have some electronics here at Grandlucky, like blenders and rice cookers and irons. They've got the full range of electricity sockets and things like that, even ones with adapters, like that one with an adapter. 27,000, dirt cheap. And so really you can get everything here. It's like a mix between a grocery store and a hardware store and like car wash stuff, everything. For things like toiletries, you generally get pretty reasonable prices here in Bali, like 8,000 for a bar of soap, or you can get a big pack, 5-pack for 37,000. You can get better brands like Dove. And then there's this one that you get from Australia. That's expensive in Australia anyway, and it's expensive here. But if you love your soap, that's a worthwhile buy. But I don't really care. I'm going with the local brand. And we're into the alcohol section. Everyone's favourite. Small bintang here, 20,000. You get a Smirnoff Ice, 27,000. Pretty good value. Big long neck, 35,000. I mean, you can get a lot of alcohol for very little money. You know, some of these things, Iceland vodka mix, only 26,000. I mean, gee. They even have a big wine section here, but wine traditionally in Bali is pretty expensive unless you get that Two Islands or Hatton wine. A lot of those bottles are 300, 400, 500,000. So if you love wine, you're going to be paying for it. So then the question becomes, local beer or imported wine? For those not into alcohol, they've even got these Bundaberg drinks, which are really good quality, and they're fully imported, but that's pretty good value, I reckon. 24,000 for that. I thought it might be more expensive, to be honest. These 390ml Coke Zeros, 6,500. I know where to get those cheaper than that. I can get them for 5,000 at a different place. I'll give you a hot tip on that at the end of the video. This is your Hatton wines, 160,000 for a bottle of wine, 200,000 for a sweet Syrah, or your Two Islands are down there. The story with that Two Islands wine is that they actually import the grapes from Australia and then process it all in Bali. So that's why they call it Two Islands, and you get the best of both worlds. You get the cheap processing costs of Indonesia, but the quality of the grapes from Australia. That's their unique selling point. This is a classic, San Pellegrino, 40,000 versus Aqua, 5,000.
So that's shopping at Grandlucky done. I spent 500,000 and got a fair amount of stuff, including a couple of bottles of alcohol there. And the thing is with Grandlucky, you can definitely get most of your imported items that you want. The question is, do you really need the imported item, or can you go local? Now, if you choose to buy a lot of local stuff, there are some cheaper options as well. And you'll have to compare each product individually, but I've got a couple of suggestions for cheap local grocery shops. Number one, that's popular with a lot of foreigners and locals alike, it's called Pandai Putri. There's a few outlets around the place, and in Sanur you can find one in the Batur Sari area and up near the McDonald's on, I think it's Tondano. The second place that I really recommend is a bit of a local, almost like a wholesaler. It's a Grosir, and it's called Batur Sari Grosir. I'll put the address in the description down below. But that place, I got my Coke Zeros there for 5,000 a piece, whereas here they were 6,500. So you can see a massive difference on some products, and you'll have to go there. If there's things that you're buying in bulk or you're buying a lot of quite regularly, you probably need to go to some of these more local grocery shops, which you won't find too many foreigners in, but if you're here for a long time, you'll definitely save a lot of money by doing it that way. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur. I'll catch you next time.